In the silenced corners of chess history, there exists a legendary tale that goes beyond the boundaries of strategy and sobriety. Magnus Carlsen, the global chess champion, chose that night to take a drunk trip over the 64 squares, a night unlike any other. Little did the audience know they were about to witness the unparalleled brilliance of a mind fueled not by logic alone, but also by the intoxicating spirit of adventure. This is the story of how a drunken Magnus Carlsen not only took on a chess master, but emerged victorious in a night that would become the stuff of chess legends. Damien Ribiere, a confident chess master, made the first move with a classic pawn to e4. The crowd erupted in cheers, unaware of the unpredictable chess spectacle about to unfold. Magnus, fueled by 5 shots of alcohol, clumsily responded with c5, the Sicilian defense. As Damien played his pawn to a3, Magnus, with a mischievous glint in his eye, unleashed a surprising countermove. His intoxicated brilliance became apparent as he moved his pawn to g6, transforming the game into an uncharted territory. The audience, initially cheering for Damien, now found themselves witnessing a chess carnival, unsure of what would happen next. After a few moves were played, Damien retreats his bishop, playing a more passive approach. Magnus advances his knight to f6, putting pressure on Damien's position. Damien responded with h4, a move so great that even Magnus quickly applauds. Magnus responds by pushing up his pawn to h6. A set of pawns are then traded off, after which Damien develops his knight, preparing to castle his king. Magnus poorly responded to this by pushing his pawn to a6, giving Damien the upper hand. Damien seized the moment and castled, solidifying his position. As both players maneuvered their pieces to more advantageous squares, the intoxication-induced unpredictability of Magnus's moves kept the crowd on edge. With limited time and impaired motor skills, Magnus faced a challenging decision to castle queenside. He's so drunk that the pieces slip through his fingers. The tension in the room heightened as Damien recognized the opportunity to capitalize on Magnus's impaired state. In the midst of the chess battleground, Magnus Carlsen, fueled by a mix of strategy and a few sips of beer, continued his tipsy dance against Damien Ribiere. The clock ticked on, and at a critical moment, Damien opted to reroute his knight back to d1, envisioning a path to better squares in the board. Magnus attacked Damien's bishop, injecting a light-hearted atmosphere into the game as he exchanged a few playful jokes. Damien, recognizing the impending threat, swiftly retreated his bishop, evading Magnus's advances. Unfazed, Magnus, still with a playful demeanor, struck again, moving his pawn to f5, a bold move that seemed to please him as he took another sip of his beer. Damien, now faced with the challenge of Magnus's evolving strategy, played his bishop to h4, attempting to pin Magnus's knight to his rook. However, Magnus, seemingly undisturbed, calmly moved his rook to the middle, rendering Damien's bishop temporarily ineffective. As the chessboard unfolded, Magnus played his knight on e3, enhancing his position and allowing for an expansion of his pawn chain. The pieces moved gracefully under Magnus's tipsy command, creating a visually captivating arrangement on the board. In a strategic twist, Damien launched an attack on Magnus's queen and knight, prompting a series of exchanges that temporarily balanced the position. Magnus seemed to have a carefree approach, while Damien's moves seemed to be more calculated. In this tipsy chess spectacle, Magnus Carlsen began tightening the screws on Damien Ribiere. The pieces on the board were inching closer to Damien's king, and with time ticking away, the tension in the room was palpable. With not much time left on the clock, anything could happen. Sensing urgency, Damien decided to make a bold move. Damien captured Magnus's bishop, hoping to disrupt Magnus's advancements. Magnus, unfazed, recaptured with his rook, maintaining the pressure on Damien's position. In a bid to create some action and potentially turn the tide, Damien attacked the center and moved his pawn to d4, envisioning a scenario where his queen could attack both of Magnus's rooks after a pawn trade. Magnus, displaying his calculating prowess, quickly found a solution, safely capturing one of Damien's pawns. The exchange of pawns continued, each move carrying the weight of the ongoing battle. Another set of pawns are traded off before Damien launches an attack on Magnus's queen, playing his rook to c1. Undeterred, Magnus, in a drunken mutter, threw a remark Damien's way before delivering a check with his queen. Damien, with quick thinking, blocked the check, using his rook, making Magnus laugh. But it is at this moment that the game took an unexpected turn. Magnus, who had maintained a significant advantage, played a colossal blunder with rook to d8. The room filled with spectators gasped as the dynamics of the game shifted dramatically. Seizing the opportunity, Damien played queen to c3, threatening to check Magnus's king by taking his pawn. Magnus, perhaps influenced by the alcohol, allowed the threat, a move that proved to be another mistake. Damien capitalized on this misstep, checking Magnus and recapturing his knight with the rook. Magnus applauds Damien. While previously Magnus had all his pieces lined up towards Damien's king, now the tables have turned and Damien has multiple pieces lined up towards Magnus's king. As the chess battle between Magnus Carlsen and Damien Ribiere reaches a critical phase, a queen trade is played. The position is now completely equal. Unfortunately for Damien, this is an endgame. This is the part of the game you don't want to play against Magnus. Magnus is widely regarded as the best endgame player to play over the board. In a surprising turn, Magnus attacked Damien's rook, prompting a cautious threat from Damien. However, Magnus, known for his endgame prowess, surprisingly played a mistake with f3. Damien, seizing the opportunity, countered with bishop d5, creating a threat that loomed ominously over Magnus's king. The position suddenly became precarious for Magnus. Recognizing the danger, Damien skillfully exploited Magnus's blunder, threatening a check on Magnus's king. In a surprising move, Magnus made another deadly error by moving his king to b8, giving Damien a significant advantage. Damien, sensing victory within reach, played the endgame masterfully. After checking Magnus's king and securing a free pawn, Damien moved his rook to h7, aiming to capture another pawn. However, Magnus, drawing on his renowned endgame skills, found a clever move to attack Damien's king, forcing a precise response. In these critical moments, Magnus's opponents often crumbled, but Damien, undeterred, responded with g3. Magnus knew exactly how to reply and played his rook to f8, threatening to check Damien's king by pushing his pawn to f2. Damien moved his rook to a7, attempting to check Magnus's king and win his rook. Magnus, quick on the draw, moved his rook away from the threat. Damien responded by moving his other rook up, prompting Magnus to check him and take a pawn. Facing limited options, Damien played rook a8, setting the stage for perpetual checks on Magnus's king. However, Magnus, seeing the winning path, continued with knight g4, introducing a new layer of complexity. Magnus's calculations paid off as he checked Damien, forcing his king to retreat before promoting a pawn to a new queen. With a handshake that marked the end of a well-fought match, Magnus Carlsen, even in his inebriated state, once again emerged victorious in the world of chess.